Well, good day. Welcome back. We are going over Unit 9 of CS Academy, strings and while loops. The previous video to this, we talked about section 9.1, strings and input, specifically 9.1.1 input, 9.1.2, looping and indexing with strings. If you haven't watched those videos, you should watch those first. There are certainly some new concepts, some new functions, a new operator in there. Best to look at those before walking through an exercise, which is what we'll be doing now. We'll be walking through one of the 9.1.3 exercises. The first one, MonkeyLatin. Okay, so want to learn a new language? Here's a monkey to teach you about MonkeyLatin. So you may have heard of this as Pig Latin also. So and it says here in the instructions, in the checklist, the rules essentially of what happens is we'll be typing in a word, whether that's in English or some other language, and converting it to MonkeyLatin. There's two rules to watch out for. Okay, so the first rule, if the word starts with a vowel, we're going to add a way to the end of the word. And so an example of that, if we type in a word that starts with A, E, I, O, or U, so we hit space, and we hit space, hello, we hit space, there we go. And if we type in something that starts with a vowel, such as the word elephant, boom, elephant way, right? So it just takes the original word, tacks W-A-Y on the end. Second rule of the language, if it doesn't start with a vowel and it instead starts with a consonant, then we're going to put that consonant at the end of the word and an AY is added. This is fudging the rules a little bit, but for simplicity's sake, if you want to look up the actual rules and change it later, you can. But let's type in a word that starts with a consonant. That is not A, E, I, O, or U. So hit space again. We could type in the word meditations. Meditations. So as we said, does it start with a vowel? No, M is a consonant. So we're going to grab that M, stick it on the end, and then AY after that. So this should come out as editations may. Boom. And now you can see that the monkey is saying editations may. Okay, so let's start coding. Now, prior to start coding, one of the things I like to do is get a look at the sort of pre-made code that they give you to start with. Oops. Pre-made code that they give you to start with to see how it works a little bit. You know, there may be things that you're like, oh, I know how to do this. There may be other things where you're like, curious about it, right? So you might say, well, how did they make the monkey that way, right? Again, good use of commenting. So here is the comment monkey, so we can presume that all these arcs and circles and ovals draw the monkey. That's how they draw the speech bubble. That's how they draw the tree. Then we have this speak MonkeyLatin function that's defined. And this method is where we're going to do our editing. But you might say, well, where does this speak MonkeyLatin function, where is it called from? So if we scroll down, you can see the on key press defined function. And if that key that's pressed is the space, boom, then we're calling that speak MonkeyLatin function. Okay, so how does it work? Well, let's look. Word is going to be a variable that stores the results of the get text input. So whenever we typed in elephant, elephant was stored in Word. There is another variable here, vowels, and inside vowels they've stuck the string A-E-I-O-U, A-E-I-O-U. So this is a collection of all those vowels. And that would be a useful thing to have because the computer doesn't know whether something's a vowel or a consonant. So we're storing that there as a way to check to see, is this a vowel or not? Okay. You'll notice that there's not one for consonants. Well, we'll see why when we get into the coding. Okay. And then there's this initial string that's empty called MonkeyLatin. So that's going to give us our result eventually. Right? Okay, so first part, if the first letter of the word is in the vowels string, set MonkeyLatin equal to that word plus way. So this is fix your code here. So right now, this kind of does the result part for us, right? It takes the word and adds way on the end, but we need to code this part. If the first letter of the word is in the vowel string. So it says if, well, it's because we need an if function, right? So, and if that's an if function, then of course we need to tab in that next line to be the result. So if the first letter of the word, well, the word is stored in the variable word, and how do we get the first letter? Remembering the indexing of strings, much like with arrays, starts with 0. So if we say word 0, we're going to grab that first letter that comes off of that text input that the user types in. Okay, so if that first letter is in the vowel string, how do we test to see if something is inside of something else? Remember that new operator from section 9.1, in. So if word 0 in our list of vowels, okay, then we're going to do that. Otherwise, this next part here, it says otherwise. So otherwise suggests that all of the rest of this, if we started with an if already, this should be inside of an else. Okay, so we can put that in an else section. Now, if we want to test, just does this part work? We could type in something beginning with a vowel, and let's see if it works. So we could go over here, hit space, and see if we type in elephant again. Do we get elephant way? And hey, we do. So we now know that this first part is functional and correct. Okay, now we get to work on the rest of this. Otherwise, loop over the string, and remember the otherwise case, right? If the first part's a vowel, then this is for the consonants and anything else if you happen to start a word with a number or something like that, or a symbol. But this includes the consonants. Okay, so if we get a consonant, we want to skip the first letter and then put the first letter at the end and add a. Well, we'll get back to the for loop in a second here, but you'll see that once it does this for loop, right, it's then going to add on through string concatenation, right? That's like gluing letters together. We're going to glue on word 1. Is word 1 the first letter? No, right? So we want to glue on, word 0, which would be the first letter, and then tack on after that the A. Okay? So for the first part, for this for loop, this is where we're grabbing maybe the rest of it, right? So it says, for index in range 0 to length of word, take those individual letters, grab them one at a time, and stick them into the resulting string, right? The MonkeyLatin result that we want to spit back out at the user. Well, if this is a word with a consonant at the beginning, such as the word press, then we don't want the P, but we want to grab R, then E, then S, then S. So we're not starting at 0, are we? Where are we starting? We're starting at 1, right? Because the 0 would be the P, the 1 would be the R. So we want to grab the R, the E, the S, which means we want to stop at the end, and the end index is there at the length of the word, right? So if the length of the word here is 5, then the range here is going to be 1 through 4. Everyone say hi to Max. Max, you want to say hi to everyone? No, he doesn't want to say hi. Okay, well, we're almost finished with the video because this just about works now, right? Or maybe it does finally work, right? Did we get it finished? Let's review, right? For this else part, for the consonant versions, we're going to grab the letters from 1 till the end. Then we're going to stick the first character from word. If this was press, we're grabbing R-E-S-S, then getting P from the beginning. Please don't stick that up my nose. I don't need a frontal lobotomy. Here you go. You can have that back. And then sticking that on the end. And then after that, after we've made R-E-S-S-P, we would put A-Y on the very end. So let's check this and see if it works, shall we? So we go over here, we hit space, and if we want to use the press example, we can use the press example. It should come out as press or respe, okay? And if we run it again with something else, we could say type in max, and if we type in max, we should get axme. And hey, we do, right? And as I said, if we start with something else that's not a vowel, again, you should see the same result. This should be, at, pound, at, percent, at, world, exclamation point, AY. Boom. That's not a very nice thing to say, monkey. You should be saying thank you. Okay. All right. So hopefully that worked out well for you. If it didn't, double check the code here. If you have any questions about how something works, you're not sure why we did a certain thing a certain way, certainly email me or come in during office hours. Thank you.